It's time for another edition of Live from Studio M on 105.5 Triple M. I'm your host, Jonathan Suttin. Today we'll meet a band that originates out of LA, and many have dubbed them the next generation of the California sound. But there's so much more to this band. We'll talk to them about all sorts of things today, including Bonnaroo, the Bahamas, the Basement Tapes. If we have time, we'll discuss karaoke and how one member of the band's hair has its own Twitter account. First though, let's hear a song from Dawes, live from Studio M. Dawes, live from Studio M. We'll chat with the band next here at 105.5 Triple M. Commercial? We're back live from Studio M with Dawes on 105.5 Triple M. And Taylor, we'll start off with you. Taylor Goldsmith, the lead singer and guitar player. Welcome back to Madison.
Thanks for having us.
So you and your brother to your left, Griffin, were kind of in a musical family to start off. Your dad was a singer?
Mm-hmm. He was a singer, great organ player, and we grew up singing as far back as we can remember. He sang in all sorts of different bands, and so we would go and watch him play as kids. He played with a lot of incredible musicians coming up too, like the organ player with Bonnie Raitt and the bass player with Crosby, Stills and Nash, and so it was all these amazing guys to be around at early ages to see what real pros looked like.
Well, so sure, on the stage they look a certain way, but what about backstage? What was that like as a...
there's just a lot of talented people, a lot of generous people. My first guitar ever was a Stratocaster given to me by, my first electric guitar, by this guy named Miles Joseph. He was one of Bob Dylan's guitar players for a little while, and he brought over 3 Strats that he owned to our house, and I was 12, and I'd never played an electric guitar, so I was just sitting around playing like the 2 chords that I knew over and over again all night. And then at the end of the night, he's like, "Which one of these do you like best?" And I was like, I think I like this one the most. And I had no idea he was about to say, "Well, then go ahead and keep it." So that was a pretty special moment for me.
Sure, but so you were old enough to appreciate it and not just play with the guitar case.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looked cool. I mean, obviously, as any kid would, I was freaked out that I was going to play a real electric guitar and stuff. But I didn't really know what I was doing. But I definitely appreciated it. It became one of my favorite guitars. The sad ending of the story, though, was that it got ripped off from us when our trailer got broken into like 4 or 5 years ago. But
really,
it's still cool to have for a while.
You could be like the late B.B. King and just didn't he have like 1 million Lucille's?
Right, exactly.
So you could just pretend.
Yeah, if I continue to just refuse to have any emotional value in any of my instruments from now on, it won't be a problem.
So on this latest album, you guys went down to Nashville to record, right? And I read that you kind of, not only did you record, but you kind of tried to get into the scene there, like as far as the community and stuff. You weren't just locking yourself into the recording studio, you kind of hung out?
Well, we worked a lot, we worked hard, but we do have a lot of friends down there, and so we would see friends when we could, but we were in the studio often until 11 or 12 at night. I mean, there was a lot of, it was really just work, it wasn't like we were going around town to get inspired to incorporate a Nashville musical quality into our music, although we loved that world and that stuff. We had written the songs before, we had arranged the songs before. We were really there just to kind of keep our nose to the ground and record as much as we could.
Well, but I read you were like singing karaoke and doing Springsteen
That's
karaoke.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
So where was that?
Those were days when our producer Dave had to edit and we didn't have anything to do. So we went to the karaoke bar Santa's and started singing Bruce Springsteen songs.
So did people know this is Dawes singing Springsteen, or you kind of were incognito?
Nashville, because everyone is in the music world, we don't get recognized or anything like that. We're not a famous band in that sense. It never happens. But when you're in a place like Nashville, where everyone is part of the music world in some way or another, everyone's a songwriter, and it's a very inspiring thing to be around because you're constantly, watching people working and watching people being inspired. But Nashville's the only place where, we have that very rare occurrence of someone being like, "Hey, I know and like your music." It's obviously a great feeling, but that night I don't think there was any of that going on.
Because there were other musicians probably right after.
Exactly, yeah. Dave was there with us, our producer, at one point, and he was singing songs as well. I think he was singing like R. Kelly.
Really?
He may not want me telling you that, but...
All right, let's hear another song and then we'll have some more conversation. It's Dawes live from Studio M.
for a while. You can see everywhere they're going. You can see everywhere they've been. And how they look out at the clouds each time they smile. And I think, maybe he's in town for someone's birthday. Or maybe he makes trouble everywhere. But as much as you resist the conversation between the rivers and the
It's Dawes, live from Studio M. And some great guitar work. We should mention the gentleman who happens to be to your right there, Dwayne Betts. And I think Dwayne has, I think this family is playing a little guitar. How did you get Dwayne? How did you trick Dwayne to come?
We grew up together. Well, he's a little bit older than me, but he was the guy that in Malibu when I was going to high school with my buddy Blake Mills, and we were in a bunch of bands together. Dwayne was the older guitar player playing around town that we were all looking up to and stuff. So
just to meet his dad, or
I wasn't really aware of his dad really at the time, for sure. I was just a huge fan of Dwayne's, and then as time went on, we stayed in touch a little bit here and there, and then we got this opportunity to play together. Now he's part of the family. It's pretty great.
That's awesome. We're glad you're here. So that song from a window seat. The first time I heard it, I remember the first time we played it on the radio, it totally drew me in, and there's so much of your writing that you do. Your lyrics are so fantastic that it just brings people in. Is it all discussed throughout the band, or you just bump your head and boom, there's a song, or what's the process?
That's kind of how the songs get written in terms of the words and the music, you know. Like that, even that song, a big part of wanting to write it was just because I couldn't play it. I didn't know how to play it, and I knew how to do it, but my fingers wouldn't do it. Like and to have the bass notes happening at a different rhythm is the other thing. So I would just sit in my room trying to play that over and over again, and then eventually the words came to it. But I always try to keep the arrangement kind of open for the band to interpret it however they feel. But that one in particular, it was a little kind of ready-made, just because the riff kind of dictated what the rest of us were going to play. But a lot of times I'll just try to keep it to chords and words, and so if the guys want to play it as more of a rocking song or a mellow song, it's left open to that, rather than me kind of trying to say, everybody do this, because I feel like it wouldn't really be as good.
Right, and some of them are bigger than you, I think, so.
Yeah.
So just to stray from Dawes for a second, you had a side project, the chance to work on the new Basement tapes with Elvis Costello, Rhiannon Giddens, who was just here a few weeks ago, and from My Morning Jacket, Jim James, and whom I forget? Marcus Mumford. Yeah, that guy. So you did a lot of the writings of a lot of the songs, really, or it was?
It was kind of divvied up. You'll hear on the record. There's 20 songs. You'll hear each of the 5 of us sing 4 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very diplomatic in that way. But yeah, the couple songs. There was a couple songs where Marcus wrote with Rhiannon, or Elvis wrote with someone, and then there's
Did you write with Elvis?
Well, we all supported each other. It was a kind of thing where, well, first of all, Elvis doesn't really need to collaborate with anybody. It's just pouring out of him all the time.
Yeah.
But we were all in each other's band, you know. Every time we would do a song that I sang, everyone would kind of get behind me, like, what is Taylor's vision? We've got to figure this out. Same with Jim or Elvis. Whoever was singing that one, we were all, our only job was to just be as supportive as we could be, and it was really fun. There was a couple songs on there that I wrote with Marcus. That the one it was a riff I was kind of sitting on that I had nothing to do with yet, and so he wrote "When I Get My Hands on You" from that. So we did that together, and then another song, "Kansas City," which he more or less had finished, and he just was trying to glue together the verses and the choruses. So there's like a transitional chord here and there that I might have helped with, but it's really his thing. It would have been as incredible as it is with or without anyone else's contribution.
So now, before you guys started this tour, did I read that you went to the Bahamas first to kind of like hang out?
I wish it was just to hang out. It kind of was. We went there to play a birthday party for
some rich dude, or like
for some rich dude.
Okay.
You nailed it.
So yeah, was it because did he appreciate you, or he just thought he's getting like a bar mitzvah band?
I think he was into it. I don't think he was that familiar. He saw us play a Warren Zevon song on David Letterman, and he's like, "I love Warren Zevon." So if that tells you anything.
Zevon, no matter how much money he has, he can't get him to play anymore. So is it a rich dude we know, or we're not supposed to say?
No, he's not a famous rich dude.
Just a rich dude.
Unfamous rich dude.
Okay, so but some other things that you've. I mean, that's cool, you got to go to the Bahamas and do that. But something you guys did a couple of years ago that probably hardcore Dawes fans know about, but not everybody, Nothing But Nets,
Yeah.
decided to go to Rwanda.
Mm-hmm.
So, not to do a concert, you were doing something different. I don't know if you could describe a little bit what you guys were doing there.
Well, we were approached by this nonprofit called Nothing But Nets, which is, fighting malaria out around the world. To be honest, we were really surprised that they approached us, because
They like Warren Zevon? And
yeah, exactly. They heard a Warren Zevon song we did, and then our thought process was there's a lot more famous bands you could talk to that have a lot more access to people's ears, a lot more people paying attention. But they felt like with Dawes there was a more direct line of communication between the band and their fans, and that was an honor for them to see it that way, and we like to see it that way too. So we were obviously thrilled for the opportunity to, because so much of the time when you're playing guitar and singing songs about how you feel about yourself,
right.
it can get you can start having those thoughts of what am I really doing here, and what good is this, and then when you get opportunities like that to have a direct hand in lives being saved and being able to spread the word so that other people know that they can do the same.
So what'd you do when you were like tooling around, like delivering nets?
Yep. Yeah, we were handing out nets, and it's crazy to really learn the facts on how helpful that can be. Like when these kids are sleeping under nets, it is the difference between living and dying. I forget the exact statistic, but I think it was a kid dies every minute or every 10 minutes or something out there from malaria, and malaria. Honestly, like going out there and visiting these refugee camps, it became clear that malaria is really just the icing on the cake for what these people have to deal with on a daily basis. It was really eye-opening for us because we were only peripherally aware of the horrors that people have to deal with. So to be able to help in any way was by far one of the biggest honors of being in a band.
So, but then how long did it take till you started bitching again that the tour bus was too small? Did it take a little while? Or?
Got back and like, why isn't the cell phone service? Where's my mocha frap?
Exactly. So I didn't get a chance to talk to these guys just real quick. I know we have time for one more song, but Griffin, you are aware there's a Twitter account. I don't know if it's very active, but it's a Twitter account of your hair.
I remember that as like a year ago.
So it doesn't have that many followers. So I'm assuming it's not yours.
Not that surprised.
It's got a mind
It's
of its
not
own.
mine. No, I don't know who did that, but it's very strange. And if you're out there, please stop.
And Tay, so there was, I don't know if you were playing it, if you played it yet, this keyboard that you have that you're blowing into looks kind of like something here in Wisconsin, if you wanted to pull it up real quick for the audience to see.
It's the melodica.
Yeah. So here I would think, did you use it yet, or are you using it?
Yeah, I used it the first time.
Oh, okay. If people thought beer was funneling through that. 'Cause you're in
I'm
Wisconsin,
just drinking,
but-
yeah, I'm just drinking.
But you, along with being an amazing keyboard player, I was doing a little digging and saw that you were in the movie 8 Men Out, and I'm thinking, why was he in this movie? And I'm starting to look, and then I realized that your dad is the
Yeah,
actor.
my dad was in that movie, and his friend from college is the director, and I didn't get the part because I was a good actor. I got the part because I was free. So.
So were you an extra? You were said you
No,
were
I had
Bucky.
a couple lines.
What'd you say? Do you remember?
I don't
Say it
know,
ain't so
throw me
true.
the ball or something. I was 5 or 6. But it was fun. It was baseball,
Yeah.
Who kid doesn't love baseball?
That's true. And your dad, David, I never say your last name. Strathairn. In lots of movies, people recognize his face a lot. Does he? Is he a musician at all? or-
He actually he plays piano, not, a little bit, but his best friend was a classical, like Juilliard trained, and that's the guy who turned me on. He was like he'd been my parents' roommate when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So that's how I started playing piano.
Wow.
My dad is, he plays, he likes music.
So yeah.
He's a terrible singer.
But so he couldn't discourage you from being a musician because he's an actor, right? I mean, it's,
No, yeah, there was never like get a real job, because he never had a real job.
Right. Okay, and Wiley, I don't know if we get it. You make guitars? Is that kind of your side deal, or?
That's what I said. I made this guitar, but
Well, let's see it. Let's show it up to everybody. It looks pretty nice.
I'll
Yeah.
take $10,000 cash at any moment.
All right, so we have time for one more, and I'm thinking you're doing the title track, right?
Yes, we are.
So before you get into it, though, so is this song about a girl, for a girl, or really, I'd heard it was maybe directed towards your brother a little bit more, or?
Well, that would mean it would be my El Camino
Right.
running forever, but I don't own an El Camino.
Right.
So
well,
that
so
one
what's
won't
the?
work.
I mean, a little bit of
Several
the.
brothers.
What's that?
So we have several brothers,
Yeah.
so it could feasibly
Our
be
brother.
one.
I hope our brother.
But so is this song? I guess the genesis of this song a little bit. If you could tell
Well,
us.
it's not. It's I like that it can be perceived as a romantic song, but it was important to me that it wasn't held to just that. You know, I like the idea that this can be because the person that I wrote it about, there is no romantic relationship, and it was something of just I really think you're wonderful, and I hope that you're able to hold on to your innocence and your pure worldview of knowing things can maybe be okay someday, you know, rather than growing up and turning into a jaded butthead.
Did she push you in the friend zone? Is that what's happening?
No. It's but you know, I want the idea that someone could sing it at their college graduation or something. So it was important that it you know, didn't have any of those lovey-dovey words in it.
Gotcha. All right, here's Dawes live from Studio M.
Late night drives and hot French fries, and friends around the country, from Charlottesville to good old Santa Fe. When I think of you, you still got on that hat that says let's party. I hope that thing is never thrown away. I hope that life without a chaperone is what you thought it'd be. I hope your brother's El Camino runs forever. I hope the world sees the same person that you always were to me. And may all your favorite bands stay together. Now I'm just waking up and I'm not thinking clearly, so don't quote me. With one eye open, I'm writing you this song. Ain't it funny how some people pop into your head so easily when you haven't seen them in there for so long? I hope that life without a chaperone is what you thought it'd be. I hope your brother's El Camino runs forever. I hope the world sees the same person that you always were to me. And may all your